get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you was just a fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll put it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you go wish you was just a fuck up real bad. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back. And now that I'm gone, yeah, I know there's no turning back.
Hello, my good peoples.
Hello, good person.
All right. Well, of course, there ain't going to be hardly anybody here because, they're all focused on the drama. And we find Jimmy Hoffa interesting, fascinating, don't we?
I do.
Okay, everybody, this is my co-host here. She either goes by Jima or Grandma, right? Which one do you like?
I don't even care.
Bitch.
Gima,
No.
Grandma,
Just kidding. Okay, my bad. Sorry.
you are bad.
Sorry.
I have chickens, which is why I have a picture of a chicken up there.
Yes, you love your chickens. They're your family.
They are so cute.
And they just had babies, right?
No, I do not have a rooster. I don't want babies.
Oh, you don't?
They are egg chickens. They are spoiled egg chickens.
Oh, are they?
Oh, they're so spoiled rotten. They have their own swimming pool.
No way.
They have their own pool and they get their water changed out a time or two a week and they drink out of it, or they go stand on little bricks that are in the water and yeah, they love it.
So
They're spoiled.
are they tame like to humans?
They're not little velociraptors.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they won't kill you or something, of course. I mean, when a laying chicken is approached by a human being and you go to touch them,
yeah,
if they're already a laying hen, they squat down to the ground, which is a symbol that they are subservient, as they would be to a rooster who were to lay on them.
Oh,
So so it's a domination type of thing. If you come up, put your hand on them, they squat down and they go, okay, you're the boss.
okay.
So that's when you pick them up.
Oh.
And then you look at them and think, what a weird little creature you are. Aren't you awesome?
Hey, Maisie. You don't know who's on the panel with me? You're not going to believe
This is Grandma.
It's Grandma. It's Ajima.
It's
Can you believe
Ajima. It's Grandma the Chicken Lady.
She's going to be my co-host. We are starting a new series, and it's going to be all Hoffa because we find Hoffa very interesting, don't we? I don't want to answer for you, but
I absolutely do. I really do.
it's fascinating.
It's fascinating, and so is the JFK conspiracy
Yes,
thing because they're intertwined, which
yep,
is what totally gets my brain going. Yeah, it's fascinating.
yep.
Love you too.
Both of them are, or both. You know what? I don't like Bobby Kennedy. I never have.
Now you mean Bobby Kennedy, the assassinated VP?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, or the younger who is running for office?
No, back in the day, Jimmy Hoffa day.
No, I didn't care for him either. He was kind
Yeah,
of a snot.
it's kind of that I don't mean I didn't like him. He came into office or whatever, and he just like went just for Hoffa, just him. You notice it?
I could say a slang thing right now that would describe it, but yes, I have to agree with you.
What would the word be?
He had a boner for the dude. He had it out for him. He wanted to get him and nail him to the wall. And it was
Okay.
because of it was, in my opinion, it is because the Kennedy family had their money wrapped up into a bunch of stuff like, shipping and things like that, where the Teamsters had a big effect on how much money they made. So when
Okay.
Hoffa did something that damaged them, financially, got them a little interested.
Okay. I find that interesting because I didn't know that part of it, the money thing. I didn't even think about that because it's put out there. It's about Marilyn Monroe and those guys cheating on
It
their wives.
that I think that's the least of it, really. I think everybody kind of knew that was going on, including Jackie. And I think that, she wanted discretion, but she wasn't about to, she
Yeah,
wasn't about to have big fits about her.
right.
Because I think Jackie knew that she was just, a passing thing. She wasn't going to be any threat to her.
Right. Okay, like I said, we're going to be doing series because there's so much to unpack, which I think is fun. But let me show you all the tabs I have open because, we could do this our whole lifetime. This is what we're going to listen to tonight. Okay, guys? I have here Jimmy Hoffa speaks out on his way to jail. That's when he went to jail in Tennessee. Do you guys remember that?
Yes.
Okay, I got that.
Yes.
I got some good stuff. Oh, I don't know if you've seen this. I did find immediately, Grandma,
Yeah.
the documentation from the FBI, which I find is kind of interesting. You want to know why?
Why?
There's so much stuff blacked out.
Oh, redacted?
Or,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot. I
Gee,
mean,
that surprises you, huh? But see, now they should have declassified some of that crap. Don't you think? I mean, considering how long ago it was.
yeah, you'd think,
But see, there was big names in there.
obviously, huh?
There was big money. Yes, there was big money in all of that. You bet there was. There was favors called in from all kinds of people by all kinds of people.
Right. Okay, so I will start with this clip here because I find it interesting. This is when him and JFK exchange words, and I hope I can find the longer clip down the road. Let me turn up my sound because it's low. All right. We'll go right here. Jesus. There goes StreamYard.
Hoffa, leader of the Teamsters Union.
I would be very happy to have our legal counsel here, our legislative representative here, assisting me in spending as much time as necessary to acquaint the American people with the fact that this is a strike-breaking, union-busting bill, in my opinion.
Mr. Hoffa, this bill is not a strike-breaking, union-busting bill.
You're the best argument I know for it. Your testimony here this afternoon, your complete indifference to the fact that numerous people who hold responsible positions in your union come before this committee and take the Fifth Amendment because an honest answer might tend to incriminate them. Your complete indifference to it, I think, makes this bill essential.
With extreme weather in multiple areas, the big man's going to have his.
And that's it for that clip, unfortunately. Wasn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's an indication.
And if you recall, it's usually him and Bobby meeting up. Do you know that?
With Hoffa?
Yeah, it's usually him and Bobby.
Yeah, because JFK kind of had other stuff he was worried about.
I mean, today was the first time I found that clip, by the way.
See, it was time.
Okay, you guys, we are going to listen when what did he get sentenced to? 5 years in a Tennessee prison?
Yeah.
But somehow they were able to get an interview. Hi, Dippy. Hey, girl. Hey. I know, right?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey. Well, when you come on, when I put those explanation points?
Yeah.
I'm yelling then.
Oh, I know that.
I do all caps all the time, but when I do those little explanation points,
that's just for me.
Oh, yes. I'm yelling at you.
You're like, Grandma,
where the hell have you been?
Where have you been? Get with the program.
Okay, this here, this was in today in 1975, Jimmy Hoffa, former Teamsters Union president, disappeared in Michigan. Now, let's see. This was an interview in 1967, you guys. Okay? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's listen.
Mr. Hoffa, you have just gone through a long legal battle which ended in a court defeat at the hands of the Supreme Court of the United States. Looking back over this, how do you feel about the Justice Department prosecution of you in the Chattanooga case?
My personal opinion and observation that no single American can receive justice in the United States based upon three things. One, the cost of investigation, attorneys, and court costs necessary to properly prepare and try a case. Two, that the entire scene in the courtroom is government from the elevator operator to the time you arrive in the courtroom, and the prosecutor and the judge being on the same payroll in most instances have something in common, and consequently, the government is able to gain for themselves the benefit of objections that normally a defense counsel does not receive at the hands of the court. Now, that's my personal experience. Many judges will disagree, but I think if they would play back a recording of their own activities in the courtroom, they would find out this is truly what is happening in America today. Many judges will disagree, but I think if they would play back a recording of their own activities in the courtroom, they would find out this is truly what is happening in America today.
In other words,
last but not least, the United States government uses every means to be able to assure themselves of a victory in a courtroom by using wiretapping, which they have admitted hundreds and thousands of times, that they use surveillance, they use the trading of one indictment against the other to create stool pigeons, to create informers, and they deliberately coach individuals by intimidation into making statements that satisfies them in the way they want to present their case. And therefore, there is just no way in the lower courts of this country and in some of the appeal courts that you can receive justice from the hands of supposedly the public servants of America.
Mr. Hoffa, was there wiretapping and the use of electronic eavesdropping equipment in your case?
We presented to the court the fact that the United States government had brought some 48 special agents into Chattanooga. All of those had electronic equipment, And the electronic equipment they used, we very carefully screened from the air and presented to the court. We might as well have presented a piece of tissue paper. There is just no question from the proof we have today that we were room bugged and wiretapped from the very moment that we arrived in Nashville and Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that the Chicago case was tainted by the same wiretapping, room bugging, and surveillance that took place in both of the Tennessee cases.
Are you saying that you have new evidence on this question?
Sometime tomorrow, we will present affidavits without disclosing what those affidavits are at the Supreme Court of the United States in regards to what we have been able, in a long, exhaustive study, been able to bring about in a way of proof of what actually happened in wiretapping and room bugging for my attorneys and myself during these trials.
Mr. Hoffa, Senator Robert Kennedy has denied that while he was Attorney General, he was at all aware of wiretapping or bugging practices outside of cases of national security where he signed permission to tap certain wires. Is it your knowledge that, in fact, Mr. Kennedy did know about the practices that were followed in your case?
I never attended any meetings Kennedy attended, but lawyers who were on his staff have made public statements that he insisted on the latest devices possible to be made anywhere in the United States or the world to be used for wiretapping and room bugging. J. Edgar Hoover has made the statement that Robert Kennedy was completely aware of everything that happened in regards to the room bugging and wiretapping, plus the fact that if you take time to read the record of the Nevada case, you will find it becomes so brazen that they leased the wires and paid by a check from the United States government to where they were room tapping and wiretapping individuals under investigation. If you look in the last few days, you will find that 10 cases have been admitted to the various courts throughout the country that the Internal Revenue or the Justice Department or both from time to time have gone out and surveilled, room bugged, or wiretapped, or both, individuals involved in serious prosecution. Kennedy cannot, with a straight face, now try to say that he knew nothing about it or that he wasn't part of wiretapping and prime instigator of what happened in the United States during this period, his attorney generalship of this country.
Senator Kennedy told me, as a matter of fact, just yesterday on tape, that he had no knowledge of the use of wiretapping or electronic eavesdropping in your case. Now, this is his most recent statement on this.
I would think that any executive who has personnel working for him could make such a statement by very carefully having that personnel working for him do the work that it was desirous of being contemplated, and then it being reduced to a transcript form without being a wiretap or a recording. And conveniently, somebody can say that this was either an interview or was a legally obtained wiretap. But I don't think Kennedy or anybody else can say that they were not aware of what was going on in the Justice Department concerning wiretapping or room bugging.
Mr. Hoffa, why do you think the Justice Department was so anxious to get you, so to speak?
I think that it was a question of a vendetta arising out of the McClellan Committee and concerning the Teamsters Union. Myself being head of the Teamsters Union was the target of that vendetta.
Mr. Hoffa, you have been one of the most important figures in American labor for a long time now. Do you feel that you have personified what American labor leaders should be like and what they should do as labor leaders for the members of their unions?
Labor leaders had three responsibilities, in my opinion. One, to organize the unorganized. Two, to get for those who are organized the best wages, hours, and conditions that can be gained without an undue loss of man hours during strikes. Third, I believe that it's incumbent upon a labor leader heading up an organization to speak out and protest against what he believes in the way of legislation or administration that is depressing the workers' opportunity from being able to equally meet at the bargaining table with the employers. And more in this country, from every decision, from all branches that are coming down, the workers are losing almost all of the rights that they thought they had gained under the Wagner labor law.
Well, do you think that the present administration in Washington today is what might be called pro-labor, or do you think that labor is losing out?
If you will look at the labor laws of the United States in 1947, you will find that almost every time a bad piece of labor legislation was passed, it was passed by the Friends of Organized Labor. Now, their idea of organized labor, in my opinion, is that it's all right to organize if you do not have a militant organization or you ask for what the worker is entitled to, which is his percentage of the profits made in corporate structures in this country. The very minute you build an organization economically strong enough and strategically strong enough to meet the employer on his own battleground, they immediately pass a rule, regulation, or a law that destroys the right of the worker to gain for himself and his family what he's rightfully entitled to, namely a decent living, a guarantee of a job, and the right to believe that when there's new innovations of automation put into effect, he should not be laid off, but by attrition only. Should there be less jobs, and he and those in return who are left should secure for themselves more of the profits out of the automation that created less jobs and more productivity.
Mr. Hoffa, Mr. Hoffa, do you think that the militancy of the Teamsters in the areas that you have mentioned is one of the reasons why this government has tried for so many years to put you behind bars?
There is no question that the national contract concerning some 500,000 of our 1,800,000 members brought about the impact of the McClellan Committee investigations and a desire to destroy this organization, as from the legislative standpoint, investigative standpoint, as well as the labor unions within the structure of the AFL-CIO.
Mr. Hoffa, what do you see as the major problem faced by labor unions today?
Lack of coordination of the economic power of organized labor, the lack of a willingness to recognize we must complete the job of organizing the unorganized, and a lack and willingness to understand you cannot meet by individual union action giant corporate structure, but you must have the labor unions that are involved in that financial structure of corporations jointly meeting with uniform expiration dates and a uniform purpose at the bargaining table, and recognizing that they cannot strike in an isolated area but must meet the corporation across corporate structures, or labor unions are going to be destroyed in the economic struggle that will be forced upon them the very minute that the employer can get a surplusage of labor that he can draw scabs or strikebreakers from.
Mr. Hoffa, approximately 3 weeks ago, Walter Reuther of the United Automobile Workers and of the AFL-CIO issued a statement in which he sharply criticized the AFL-CIO for many reasons, one of which was its failure to actively participate in the greater problems of society at large. I wonder if you could care to comment on the letter issued by Mr. Reuther.
I read Reuther's letter. This organization of the Teamsters Union is not an social workers organization. It is a workers organization. We go in for legislation that involves the welfare of the people of the United States, whether it be Social Security, minimum wage, or any of the necessary legislation to protect the workers. So far as the social aspect is concerned, our legislative director participates in discussing those issues. But so far as the AFL-CIO is concerned, is it as dead as last year's roses?
Why is it as dead as last year's roses?
Because of the top echelon at the age they're at are contented to remain in a position of power without being criticized or subjected to the economic struggles necessary to gain for the workers out of coordination of activity what they're entitled to.
Are you saying that the leadership is too far removed from the basic problems of the workers and from the workers themselves?
I would say that the leadership of the AFL-CIO, in rare exceptions, are totally unaware of what the workers are thinking back on the shops or on the streets or the highways of America.
But hasn't this been a tendency in union organization in general, even in the Teamsters Union, The larger you grow, the more there is a bureaucracy, the greater the separation between the top echelons and the worker.
Just not true. Every one of our vice presidents have an area and are required to attend the membership meetings of those areas so they can keep abreast of them, be part of the workers. All of our general organizers assigned in the areas are required to be in the membership meetings, participate in negotiations, participate in grievance settlements, and keep abreast of what the workers are thinking. And that's why we are in a position of having 25% of all of the elections in National Labor Relations Board and 25% of all the new members being in the Teamsters Union, despite the fact the rest of the labor unions are going backwards and losing elections and not having organized campaigns.
Yes, but there is a difference. I think it's inevitable between the early days of trade unionism, when, for example, the president of the union earned very little more, if any more at all, than the average worker. Today, there is an economic gap between the top and the bottom, and this automatically must have its effect.
Has no effect at all. I'm the highest paid labor leader in the country, $100,000. I'm negotiating myself right now in behalf of the 500,000 workers under the master contract. I drafted the agreement. I'm chairman of negotiations. I hold a meeting in the field, and I'm just as close to the workers as a shop steward is in the barns.
Mr. Hoffa, you have been, or rather the Teamsters Union has been accused of trying to raid the territories of other unions. I wonder if you'd care to comment on this.
We have taken members from other labor unions and intend to continue doing it. And we do it for several reasons. First of all, one, the workers seek us out desiring to change the unions. Two, there are labor unions who are constantly harassing our membership and our unions, who we have to deal with in the reverse order of constantly taking their membership away from them so that they will leave our membership alone. And last but not least, George Meany, with all of his letters, threats of expulsion of trade unions, councils, has not been able to keep the Teamsters Union and the rank and file members in the various councils and state federations from jointly working on our problems. We have today some 40 pacts with 40 international unions, to where we have joint organizing campaigns, joint negotiations, and we are not in a rating position with them. However, we do intend to continue rating individual unions who want to carry on Meany's fight against the Teamsters Union.
Well, then, isn't this a bit disruptive of the labor movement as a whole?
I don't know what disruption there can be when you find a worker under a union contract making $1.25 an hour and been there for 10 years in the union. It's about sometime somebody took that union over and got them a decent wage scale, and that's what we generally find.
In other words, you feel that you are working for the best interests of the workers, and regardless of whether or not they're organized in other unions, you feel that you can do better for them and would like to take over if possible.
Those we have taken over, all you have to do is check the contract they had prior to us taking over, the contract we have now, and it speaks for itself.
Mr. Hoffa, just to get back for a minute to the Ruther letter, do you think that the Teamsters has any role to play, for example, in the poverty program? Or
No, I
anything
do
of
not. I believe that the poverty program is strictly a political program. It is probably one of the most underfinanced programs of the country. And for anybody to become associated with, must become associated with a failure. And we don't intend to be associated with something that, no matter what you say or suggest, is disregarded and bureaucrats take over and make their own decisions anyway. There's no use spinning your wheels.
So it's not a question of principle, then. It's a question that you don't think the program is effective, and therefore it's not worth the time of the Teamster Union.
We have other things to do in the way of legislation and the way of our union, and going on and trying to change the economics of the United States so far as welfare programs or make work programs.
Mr. Hoffa, just two more questions. Teamsters Union has been called the most corrupt union in this country. I wonder if you would care to comment on this.
There's almost 1,800,000 families in the United States in the Teamsters Union. There are 900 local union subordinate bodies. And I defy anybody to take a cross-section of the Teamsters Union in any state or the entire United States or Canada and tell me that we do not have the average Canadian or American on the street in our union, and so far as our officers are concerned. Since the vendetta of the McClellan Committee, the vendetta of the Bobby Kennedy Attorney Generalship, you have not witnessed the emerging of the publicity that took place to affect these trials. This is not a corrupt organization. They know it, we know it, and above all, our membership knows it. You could not, no matter who you are, keep the membership in a corrupt union captive without them revolting and seeking unions elsewhere. It's just impossible and ridiculous.
Is that necessarily so? I mean, it's been said that the workers couldn't care less whether the union was corrupt or not, so long as the union did get them the wages they feel they're entitled to. And I think
some idiot made that statement. Nobody that has any knowledge of the American worker ever made that statement. The American worker is vitally interested in his union. He participates in the election of his officers, his shop stewards, and if he isn't happy with that union, never mind just the contract as such, but the way his union runs, there will be a change of officership, as you've witnessed in many unions across this country. And the idiot who made that statement made it just for the purpose of trying to make the American worker look that he is stupid and doesn't understand what's happening in the United States. And it's to the contrary. The American worker and the Canadian worker are the most well-versed, well-read workers of the world. And they understand perfectly via TV, radio, newspapers, magazines of all sorts, and their own individual union papers and contracts as to what is happening in this country, and nobody is fooling them. And if they attempt to take away from the workers any of the gains they have made up to this point, they will find out how alert the American worker really is.
Mr. Hoffa, do you foresee in the future the possible breakup of the AFL-CIO?
No, I do not.
In other words, you think it's around to stay,
Yeah, like people on a raft.
even if the UAW should withdraw, for example?
Like on a raft.
Like on a raft. One last question, getting back to the question of your current predicament. Mr. Hoffa, do you think you'll go to jail?
I have no comment to make. We're filing unnecessary appeals through the proper legal procedures prescribed by the United States government, and we're hoping for the best.
And Mr. Hoffa, would you care to make one last comment on Senator Robert Kennedy? What do you think his role has been in all of this, and how do you consider him as a presidential possibility?
I believe that the American people, being as well versed as they are in what's happening into this country, would never elect a Bobby Kennedy to the United States government. On the other hand, if they do, God help America. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hoffa.
Thank you for listening. In a moment, the live radio stream from WNYC 93.9 FM.
Okay. Now, wasn't that interesting?
Yes, ma'am, that was interesting.
Alma, where the hell have you been?
I've been here the whole time. What are you talking about?
Alma's here.
Alma?
Don't you remember Alma?
Yes, where's she been?
I don't know. I missed you.
Well, we missed her. Where have you been?
I thought
You okay?
I thought you didn't love me.
Oh, God, it's just probably been crazy for her like it has been for us.
Yeah, probably.
You know?
These people on here sometimes, I'm telling you. Okay, I found that interview fascinating. This man is fascinating. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
I'm sorry, too. It's this time of year is real hard for me, too, because I lost a lot of people this time of year last year and in years previous. So the holidays are not a happy time right now.
Yeah.
So they're just not. I'm not excited about any of it.
Right.
I am sorry you lost someone, Alma.
That's horrible.
And the holidays makes it worse. You know, because your emotions get all raw.
Oh, mine hit me yesterday. I can tell you that.
Oh man, it was all I could do yesterday just to not just bawl in public.
I'm
I've
like,
just been hanging out
where
with
the
my
heck did
chickens.
that come from? You went to see your chickens then?
That's what the chickens are good for you. I have to tell you, because they don't judge you. Chickens don't judge. You can give them snacks, and they think you are the most wonderful thing. They
Oh.
chase me. They chase me when I walk over here, and then I walk over there. They all got to go too. So they cheer you up a little bit.
Read Rooster's comment.
You don't like the holidays because what?
Finds
You're working on all the gifts now. Oh, I hear you.
Yep.
I hear you.
Sleep.
Oh, Alma, you're not doing good. And you cannot eat mine chickens, okay? Other chickens, yes, but not mine chickens.
They're her pets.
They're my babies. They make me wonderful eggs, I have to tell you.
Do they? How can they make eggs when there's no rooster? I don't understand that.
Okay. Think about it this way. If they're going to make eggs anyway, okay? That's just a fact. They get mature and they start making eggs.
Okay.
If they don't have a rooster knocking them down every day to get his little thing on, then there's none of his business in there for the egg to absorb through the shell and to make that fertilized. Okay?
But
Eggs absorb things like water and whatever touches them. So if the rooster leaves his little gift in there as the egg is forming in her every day, because she makes one every day, and the egg is fertilized by him, then when she lays it's already been fertilized. So all she has to do is lay on the eggs, keep them warm. And that's all she wants to do anyway. That's all they all want to do is lay on the eggs.
okay. Okay, read Rooster's comment.
Rooster.
Isn't that funny?
Leave your little gift there with somebody. So kind of you. Yeah, the eggs are porous. So like I'll tell you this too, since we're just putting Hoffa on hold for a sec. When the hen lays an egg, and the egg is passed out of her body, there's something on it that is on the very surface. You can't see it or anything, but it's called the bloom, and the bloom is like a coating around the entire egg.
How confusing.
Now, it is just clear, dries on it, and you never see it. You would never know it was there. But the bloom, if you don't get it wet, if you don't wash, yes, they are. Yes, they are. We appreciate that sentiment. Thank you. But if you wash your chicken eggs, then you wash the bloom off, and then anything can get through that shell.
Oh, that's
You
confusing.
see. So
I was waiting for your comment. I was waiting for it. Oh, good. I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it. Oh, God. Okay, I didn't know that about eggs, okay? Because...
Well, no, a lot of people don't, and it's okay.
No.
But see, they don't get the bloom until they're laying, so if the rooster does his thing before they're laid, obviously, then... Oh, God, I could make you laugh telling you a joke right now about that, about them being ugly.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we're totally off track, guys. It's so funny, though.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So the rooster business gets sucked into the eggshell, basically, and that's how that happens.
Okay.
So there you go.
Well, that's interesting.
And if you don't... See, we did miss her. We did need to see her today.
I know, right?
Oh God, you just have no idea how refreshing that is.
And then Rooster.
Alma, keep being bad, please. Just keep being bad because I love it. It's
And
so
I don't know who this rooster is, but this rooster is funny.
I
Okay.
like Rooster. He's fine.
Oh God, that's
Don't
fun.
get sucked into the cock business.
Oh my God.
I saw this comedian one time. This is so many years ago. It's not even funny. And she said something about her husband coming at her with that thing. She said, "My God, that's the damn ugliest thing I ever saw. At least put some doll clothes on it before you come at us with it."
Oh no.
I was trying to put doll clothes on it.
That's crazy.
She said if she had that on her, she'd have it removed.
Oh my God.
Oh God, that's funny.
Why are you in the hospital, Dippy?
Why are you stuck in the hospital?
Attacking.
Come at me. Come at me with that thing.
She was violated.
She was accosted. At least I could have put a dress on it or something. Make it pretty.
That reminds me of something I watched. We'll have to play it later. Okay, now.
God, we're totally off of Hoffa now, aren't we?
Now let me tell you something.
A little segue.
I was here at the perfect time. Yes, you were.
Yes, thank you so much. You just don't even know.
You started all this. You did.
He's pushing all the instigator buttons, isn't he?
The rooster did, yes.
Yes, he did.
Yep. Okay, so we watched the JFK thing, okay?
The one that you and I watched?
No, we watched
Oh,
it.
just that clip there where he was talking to JFK in the courtroom.
Yeah.
That was a short clip. That was a bummer.
Okay. Everything is a short clip. Okay, I find him fascinating. I find the mob interesting. Always have. And they don't seem to be like big like they used to be, but who was I talking to? Was it you? A lot of people saying that they're still going strong. Grandma?
Who is?
The mob.
Well, not like they were, but yes, they are.
Yeah.
They've changed from what they used to be, obviously, because they were too overt back in the day. They were too well known and well seen, and now they're trickier.
Yeah, they had to be. And that's the thing about Hoffa. They said he talked too much. He loved the camera.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Just like what's his name? Gotti.
John Gotti,
He was a riot.
the Teflon Don. Ow. Jeez. I'm wounded here. You have a clip for us there, honey?
What?
Do you have a clip for us?
Yes. Hold on, woman. Hold up.
Get it.
You know I do. Okay, this is Jimmy Hoffa in 19. Oh my God. I'm not sure, but he was on the Morning Exchange. And I'm not sure what year. Obviously, it was before he went missing. Oh, and I want to talk about the concrete thing too. Sorry, I'm trying to bring this up, but StreamYard's not letting me. Hold on. Here we go. This man is very interesting.
Routine is very simple to the prison officials. Standardized for everybody. Get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, shower, one bell, another bell rings, you go to breakfast, come back to your room, wait for the next bell to ring, you go to work, and then you work, and then you come for lunch for another bell, and then you come back to your cell, another bell, back to work, back into your cell in the evening, another bell, send you to dinner, and then you come back to your room and you wait for the recreation period by another bell. And it's constantly a matter of chimes and bells that annoy anybody in their right mind by letting you know that they control you and you will do what they want. And it's like a rote mental beating of your brain with those chimes and bells and guards at night, 4 times a night, shining a light in your face to see if you're in a cell already locked in. What they expect you to get out, I don't know. It's like being in a hospital when the nurse wakes you up 3 o'clock in the morning, wants to know if you're there.
Yes.
You know. And it's really a horrible situation. And this prison was built for 950 people, and they had 2,000 people without adding a single stick or stone to it. So take your own home, bring in 3 families, and put the 3 families into your home without any children. If they have children, it'll be worse, and then you have a prison.
Mm-hmm.
It'll destroy any home, no matter how beautiful the setting is, and prisons are never beautiful, they're horrible.
So there's been a lot of talk about the idea of cutting men off from normal family contacts, from sexual contacts, and the resulting violence from that. Was homosexuality a big problem where you were?
45% of the people in the prison either are homosexuals or practice homosexuality, and is brought about by the prison recognizing it as a way of life. If you want to live with somebody, you simply go in the captain's office, apply for a double cell, and you become man and wife. Now, this doesn't last long, and eventually, so the homo will start flirting with somebody else, and that brings violence, either through stabbing or fighting, and sometimes riots. We consistently have tried through the National Association of Justice, and I've tried while I was in prison, to get them to confine the homosexuals into other quarters. But instead of that, they put them right alongside of you. You may reach out on one hand and touch one, or a murderer upstairs, or a man with 50 years alongside of you. And when you're trying to sleep under those conditions, unless you have a tremendous willpower, you're constantly with one eye open, looking to see whether or not you'll survive the night for the next day. And if you try that for a period of weeks or months, you'll find that it has an effect on you.
What about visiting? There's some talk about conjugal visits, and in some countries they in fact have that. You think that would help here?
In our type prisons, it would be absolutely ridiculous. If you were to be in a visiting room and then back into the prison after the visiting, you would listen to the discussion of certain of those morons in there concerning a man's wife, concerning this and that, concerning his wife, which brings about fights and stabbings again. And if you were to bring in a man's wife, take the Lewisburg, it has an L dorm where the guards used to live in the old days, and you marched her up a stairway and had your period of time with your wife, invariably when you came back into the prison, there would be comments, jokes, ridicule, or sly remarks about what should have happened or did happen, and it would cause trouble. I say no. I say the only way to do it, and we've testified in Congress, is to give furloughs ever so often to people who have behaved in prison, have been there for nonviolent crimes, and let them go home and have a furlough visit with the proper surroundings with their family and be more satisfactory. But it certainly will never work out, in my opinion.
If this prison system were to be made, perhaps not into an ideal, but a much better system, so there would be some kind of rehabilitation, so men would come out better than they went in, what do you think it would be like?
There are 15 new prisons under construction in the United States now, federal prisons, for $99 million. None of them are over 500 people. Most of them are 250, 300 people. And they are supposed to be staffed with psychiatrists, doctors, educators, to be able to turn people out into the street who have came in ill-equipped to meet society's demands. But I doubt that in the 3-year period after they're built, each one of them will not have from 2 to 2.5 times more people in them than they were built for. And immediately then you destroy all of the effect of trying to build what you call a model prison.
All these damn commercials. So that was when he got out of prison. Grandma, are you there?
I am.
Okay. So that's when he got out of prison. He's not as, I don't know the word.
He's not as gregarious as he was before he went in. It took something out of him.
Yeah, right.
What?
Oh, they're talking vibrators.
Oh, good Lord. I wasn't in the chat.
You weren't? Oh my God. It's funny.
Oh, God.
Okay. And I want to show the people this here. Do you want to see what this guy I like on here? Okay. He's a made man. Okay. He's not a gangster. He's a made man. His name is Michael. Do you want to check him out real quick?
Yes.
And this man here, okay. Oh my, is he good looking? And when people ask him about his life being a made man, you can't tell. He doesn't answer you, but he does answer you in a way. I can't. Hold on. Just hold on.
Just roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's right. He's got a YouTube channel. And you know the guy that okay, Gotti, his right hand man. He's all over the internet. I'm surprised no one's like offed him.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
What's his name?
I always choose the wrong one first. It's not Whitey Bulger. It's the other one, right?
Oh my God! Stop! Wow. Okay, that pisses me off.
We already talked about this guy, Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes. See, I knew it was in there somewhere. I haven't killed that brain cell yet.
All right. Hold on. This is Michael. Hi, Candy Sugar. Here we go. This is Michael. Let's see. He talks about Hoffa here, but he doesn't talk about Hoffa. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And he worked he was the boss of the Gambino? No.
Yeah,
Colombo.
Gambino.
Was it Gambino family?
Yeah. Sammy the Bull did.
Him and Sammy the Bull got into a fight on the internet.
I'm not surprised.
Do you want to see it? Should I find it? Okay.
If you want.
Well, it's funny. Well, look here. This is what I want to do first. I want to hear him talk about Hoffa here in a minute. Let me find it.
Let's do the Hoffa thing and then go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on, you guys.
I know Rooster's looking at my chicken.
I would love to
You bastard.
interview this guy, but do you know he does like meet and greets and people pay like lots and lots of hundreds and thousands of dollars to see him?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's got to pay his security team and all that kind of crap.
Okay, hold on. Shoot. I want to be careful because I don't want him to strike my channel. Hold on. Let's look here a minute. Where is Jimmy Hoffa buried? Where is your money buried? These are questions he gets. This is what he says.
Let's find out where he's buried.
So we'll just watch a little tiny clip.
Yeah, and then we have to discuss it. Otherwise, fair use does not apply. We
Definitely.
have to do a few seconds and then talk
Yep.
about it.
Yep. 15 seconds.
All right, I'm down. I'm ready.
I'm waiting for the commercial. All these commercials.
So,
There's no way of getting around it no more. YouTube figured it out. Oh, wait. Here we go. Here we go. Ready?
Yep.
One. Where is Jimmy Hoffa buried? People, I've kind of made reference to this, a few times, that I had a little inside information on it. I want to be honest with you. I'm not going to be the guy that says I know where Hoffa's body is and I got it all down pat and all that. That's not the case. But I do have some insight into it. Some people said to me, Michael.
See, everything he said, it's so funny. I don't know, but I got insight.
You should be sharing this so that the family can get some peace, some closure on it. This is not going to give them closure. The only time you're going to get closure on this is if Jimmy Hoffa's body was found. And I'm not the guy that can lead you to it. I don't think anybody can lead you to it. I don't think Jimmy's body will ever be found. Based upon information and knowledge that I have, I believe that's it. So let me tell you what happened. A couple of years back, Frankie G, Frankie G, my loyal guy.
Okay. I want to be careful. If you guys want to check out this guy, I think he is amazing also. He is not a made man no more. Oh, hi, Candy. Hi, Candy. Did you see that? Did you see where they were fighting? Let me find that clip. I will do that. Hold on.
But his name is Michael Francesca, right?
Yes. Oh, let me put the link in. I'm sorry. Because, of course, everybody's interested in this secretive lifestyle. You know what I mean? He's never going to get away from it. I mean, I read his comment section and, yeah, I want to know things too. Okay, you ready for the fight? Hold on.
Celebrity death match.
All right, here we go. Hold on. I found it. Yeah, after these commercials. Here we go. Hold on. All right.
Intent to betray you. I still don't even understand what you're so upset about. But whatever you got upset, and what I did afterwards to not make you upset for whatever reason you had, I took that little 10-second spot out of the video. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to the witness protection program, I'm sorry, Sammy. I have my thoughts on it. I've been to trial 5 times. I saw my father go to trial 4 times. I've seen guys lie and manipulate that program to stay out of prison. I'm not accusing you or anybody else. I'm accusing the people that I witnessed, that I saw it happen. And I'll take that to my grave. A lot of guys use the program to manipulate the government. It's easy to do. They come up with bullshit stories to put somebody in jail that has a bigger name than them. And that happens all the time. And you're smart enough on the street to know that that's the truth. And that's what I said. As far as John Gotti with his Witsec Mafia, all I said was he's coming out with a show. It's called Witsec Mafia. That's it.
You didn't say that.
No. Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. Let me quote what you said.
No, let me finish. Let me respond to you.
Go ahead.
The video is up there. Anybody can see it. The only part that was edited was the 10 seconds that I had about you. And all I said was Sammy was in the program. I didn't say anything else about it. So I didn't betray you, nor did I.
Let me explain. All right, I got your point. Let me explain now what you did.
You got to let me finish. I let you finish.
Finish. What are you going to
say? So again, yeah, going back to what you said, I thought things went kind of well. We had our differences. We still have our differences about it. Maybe we straightened it out. Obviously, maybe we didn't. You still have something in your mind. As far as a prayer that I sent to you, let me explain that. We were in church. My wife sat next to me. Okay, the pastor said, pray for somebody that you think needs prayer today, that needs to come to the Lord. My wife turned to me and said, let's pray for Sammy. And so we prayed for you, and I sent you that. It had nothing to do with that video because, Sammy, contrary to what you believe, I don't need to soften you up for anything. That was just ridiculous what you said. It made no sense.
Okay, and this is what happened with Michael. He found God.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, but he's an actor.
No, he's not an actor.
He found God. Now let me get to the good part of the fight. Listen to me, the good part. Hold on.
No, I didn't say that. No, don't put words in my mouth. What I said was very, very simple and the truth. And this is a matter of record. So everybody can BS about this whole Norby Walters things. It's a matter of record. What I said was I knew exactly what I was doing. At the end of the day, Norby Walters wasn't going to do 1 minute in jail, and he never did. Neither did anybody else. I talked to the government.
All right. You made your point.
No. I have to because you've accused me of this.
No, I'll accuse you further. Don't make the fucking point.
It's all
You made your point. You made your point. Now, Norby Walters, I've got a lot of information with that. And a lot of friends involved.
Sammy, put it out there.
Well, I'm going to put it out.
Put it
I'm going
out.
to tell you right now, right to your fucking face. I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
Norby Walters, you testified against him. He got convicted.
Oh.
Norby Walters didn't do it. Listen to me. Norby
It has
Walters
nothing
didn't
to do
one
with you,
thing.
how much
Yeah.
time he did.
Why-
A judge in the
what's
case made a mistake.
Why do you feel a need to cover for yourself, okay, by saying what I did? Why?
I'm not covering for myself.
Yes, you are.
No,
He's
I
saying
never,
he's a snitch.
Want to
never
make a
did.
big deal out of Norby Walters? Let's make
It's a big deal. You cooperated against the fucking guy.
You want to make
He's
a
a
big deal
family
out of what
friend.
you
Can you imagine having this on your platform? Wouldn't it be awesome? Listen to me. Wouldn't it be awesome? So if anybody wants to check out this fight, there you go. And I'm going to give this channel a like, of course.
That was Grandpa.
I mean, look at how old he looks. So I found the so-called documents of the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa with the FBI. Now, when I was going through it, oh, what does this say here? The best copy obtainable of this. That's what they said. Pages are blurred, light, otherwise difficult to read. No better copy can be produced.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff is blacked out. Names. What is this document here? You see, you don't even know what document this is. But all this was done on behalf of, Bobby. So this was 1973. He was on the outs with, God, you can't even read this writing. Can you read any of that?
Well, I'm on my phone. If I was on my laptop, I could.
Oh, okay. It is so hard to read. This is a huge rabbit hole. Hey, Rooster, I can't get rid of that heart. That's something YouTube did. I don't know why.
It's not just a heart, though. If you
Yeah.
touch it, there's a whole bunch of them and they haven't done anything with them yet.
Yeah,
It's so stupid.
I know, right?
They're in the way of everything.
So this is all you got for this part. It says pages 1 through 4.
That's it.
But there's others. Oh my God, there's so much. There really is. Hold on. These I do got saved on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Pages 1 through 4. Hold on. No. Listen to me. No.
What are you looking for?
I got and I can't find them right now.
That's okay. Move on.
Oh my God, no way. Did I delete them by accident? Well, it won't be hard for me to find them. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll work on that. Okay.
Okay.
And I love you, Alma. Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm the OG in this bitch. Okay, let's watch a complete, or what's the word I want to say? I found some other things about him, interviews. This is when he came out of court. Hold on. Shoot. Of the commissioned office. Hold on. What year? 1960. Why isn't it muting or pausing? Jesus. Sorry, guys. I don't know what to say or do.
Just share screen.
Well, no, it wasn't even letting me do anything. When you hear it clicking, it's not letting me do anything. It's muted until they come out of that door. I don't know why they did that.
Well, because they were probably talking about the case and they don't want everything out there for us.
This wasn't muted before.
They're watching you, Kit.
Very confident man. What do you think?
Oh, he's very confident. Knows exactly what he's talking about. Knows exactly what's going on. That's why he was a threat.
Look at how short he is.
Oh, yeah, he's a little dude.
There he goes, smiles. Oh, here we go.
We don't know what who it was. Well, I don't care. I'm repeating what you told me. Sneak in there, baby. Sneak in there. On the floor. On the floor. Fellas on overtime going on. Make them all show their union guy. I'll tell you, it would be like him, Steve. I'll bet. Like him.
You look this way, Jimmy, please. Thank you.
They say Bob Kennedy's going to be the next Attorney General. Do you have anything to say about that, Mr. Hoffa?
I have no comment except to say that the country has many competent, qualified lawyers who have tried lawsuits.
Oh, ouch.
Look at the whole room. Silence.
Well, you ought to have it by now, man.
Is this the lawyer?
Yeah, that's from.
Take a lot of
Oh my God, I gotta go get Nala. I'll be right back.
How long will you be
Oh,
here once you come back?
Until the contract is signed.
You have any idea how long it'll be?
Well, I've been here now 3 weeks. I imagine another 2 or 3 weeks.
Why is it taking so long?
Always does. There's so many window dressings, so many speeches must be made, so many proposals. Then you finally get the right proposal and you accept it.
You think you'll get the right proposal?
Always have. We will in the future.
What is it for more money?
More, we want to get increase in money, increase in pension, health and welfare. They never offer anything until the final last 24 hours, but they haggle about the non-economic issues, and when they're out of the way, they find settle the money.
Are the negotiations strictly at Central States now?
Central States, but it affects the Southern Conference, who are the same employers. It affects the Carolinas, Virginia, and it has almost become necessary to maintain a local union, that the drivers and the inside workers become one union.
What about a possible merger with the longshoremen?
The longshoremen have returned to the AFL-CIO. We are contemplating no meetings concerning that merger.
Are there any?
However, we are having a meeting with the longshoremen and the other waterfront unions concerning transportation unity.
Okay. Think our video stopped. Experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by. You guys enjoying listening to the Hoffa stuff? I love it. Who has a sexy voice? No, who does? Mhm. I want to get into this JFK thing that I sent to Kit a couple days ago. It was a really great interview about a guy who knows firsthand what happened with JFK, who was involved, etc. He's written a book about it, but Richard Nixon was the one that told him all the facts about it. And I sent it to Kit so that we could talk about that at some point.
Yep.
There you are. Did you find your doggo?
Yeah, you know I get her at every night at 9:05 from my dad's, and it was kind of late. I'm like, I hope he doesn't have the door locked. No, he thinks it's his dog, and he's lucky I let him have visitation. All right, here we got another clip. Hold on. Oh no. What happened here? Oh, here we go. Oh, hold on. Okay, here's a press conference. Ready? Okay.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. This was in 1958. And of course, we're going to have silence for a minute, I guess.
The StreamYard.
I'm telling you. Remember, she goes to my dad's every day?
Yes.
Yeah, Alma asked me.
So the yes, feedback.
Okay. Anytime now.
You'll see they even fail to recognize their own problems till they destroyed their own industry.
Jimmy, you had a conference yesterday.
You talking about Bob Kennedy?
Well, not Bob Kennedy, Senator Kennedy.
That's what I thought. I would say that out of what I observed was Senator Kennedy's reactionary attitude towards organized labor, that I would find it very difficult to solicit any help for him in our organization.
Jimmy, do you feel this attitude was reflected in the Kennedy Ives bill?
I think the Kennedy Ives bill was a very loose drafted instrument, which was subject, as I told Kennedy himself, to administrative leeway to the point that it could destroy organized labor.
That was their point.
I would say that the Kennedy Ives bill was just as dangerous because of the loose language in the act itself.
Jimmy, if you were asked or you had the opportunity, what labor legislation would you propose?
I wouldn't propose any labor legislation. I don't think this country has been able to survive as many years as it has without having proper statutes on the books to take care of every kind of a conceivable crime you can think of. And I don't believe that the law enforcement agencies of this country, whether it be the smallest village, township, or the largest metropolitan area, has fell apart to the point that we need added legislation for what they say is for the benefit of labor. I don't believe it.
How do you say that the Taft-Hartley law has been dangerous for you, Jim, because you've got the largest membership now that you've ever had?
Yes. No, I wouldn't, because we are not desirous of taking them in. We think it's to their benefit. They should not break their own units up over the question of personalities or the questioning of their organization, but rather stay in their organization and correct their problems there by the democratic process in their Constitution.
Do you think the strike between the Teamsters and the AFL-CIO hurts labor's whole?
There is no question about it.
I'm afraid we're going to have to call this to a halt. As interesting as it is.
I'm in the
The only thing I want to say is that this is probably the largest attendance that we have had at a Central Conference meeting, and it clearly indicates the interest of our officers, of the local unions in the Middle West, as well as our representatives from the West and the South, as to what's happening in this international union. I think you, by observation, must realize that this single block of votes, is the largest block of votes in the entire convention. There is over 600,000 members of our international union in the Central Conference. The Southern Conference has roughly 180,000. I was at the Western Conference, where we have, I believe, between 350 and 4. And the same reaction was at both of those conferences. October 27th, I'll be in Washington at the East. Well, I talked to our lawyers last night at 8 o'clock. They have the papers drafted. Let's call them again. I have a note in my pocket to call them again. It will be filed on Monday. And the lawyers have confidence that the court's decree is not ambiguous, but is clear, concise, and means what it says. And if that be true, we will have a convention in February.
Jimmy, you take this this reaction of the crowd as a personal reaffirming of your leadership, or do you think it's for the Teamsters as a whole because of their troubles?
Well, I think both. First of all, if they didn't have confidence in the Teamsters, it would have been secession. And secondly, if they didn't desire to have me remain as executive officer, they have the Constitution which could have removed me.
Jimmy, could we get back to this convention? I didn't quite follow. You said that if you through with it, how do you stand on that now?
The Senate committee, I understand, will hold sessions in November, December, and maybe in January. And if they do, I wouldn't be able to say whether or not I would go back, be called back or not. I had no subpoena. But there is nothing to stop the committee from calling me back, and I have no assurance they won't.
Do you feel a little brighter towards Bob Kennedy, the council, now than you did a while ago?
I believe that Bob Kennedy has deliberately distorted the Teamster question for a personal animosity that he has against the Teamsters Union, which nobody's been able to find out why. I believe he's carried on a vendetta, particularly with myself and the Teamsters Union. I have no faith, confidence, nor trust in Kennedy. Never will have.
How do you feel about George Meany? Do you feel the same as English does?
Do you believe there's going to be any legislation on labor in the next session of Congress?
Yes, I don't think labor can escape having some legislation. What it will be, in my opinion, be determined upon the makeup of the Congress after the election.
You said in your speech you likened it to a straitjacket, possibly.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised. I listened to Ives, I listened to Irwin, to Munt, Curtis, talk about their philosophy of labor, how they were for it, and what they wanted to do to assist it. But I also carefully gathered from their tone, from their discussions, the fact that their only interest in labor is how cheap can they buy it. So I think they will pass laws, restrictive as they can humanly possibly get through the Congress, for the purpose of being able to serve their masters, which is not the working people.
Jimmy, you said that you would help the UAW, but not Walter Luther. Would you care to explain that a little more fully?
Yes. Question was asked by a reporter, UP in Washington. I answered the way I did what you're familiar with, and I made it a statement for this reason. I don't like fakery. I never entered into it all the time I've been part of the organized labor movement. And I think it's hypocritical the way these negotiations have been carried on. I think he should have been honest and sincere with his members and told them that he could have got the very first sessions of the meeting what was gained at the last sessions after a lot of personal propaganda for Walter Reuther. And therefore I stated, and I stated again, that I would support financially, physically, with everything I have, the workers, but I would not support Walter Reuther personally.
Has he ever asked you for help, Jim?
He asked me for help no later than 2 weeks ago on the Kohler situation you're talking about, and I replied on the Kohler situation.
Reuther himself?
Through his emissaries that came to Washington. I offered to assist the Kohler strikers, and I offered again that the day Walter Reuther has the courage to assist the strikers at the Kohler plant by recognizing that it is a legitimate labor dispute and allows his members to have their democratic rights in refusing to work with non-union merchandise or work with individuals who are breaking that strike. The Teamsters Union will put its full resources behind the strike, but not until Walter Reuther has the courage of his discussions and his propaganda to support the workers.
Well, would you cooperate with a strike, shall we say, against GM or any of the other big three?
We'll support the workers on a strike, recognizing that whatever happens to whether it's a GM worker or the Kohler striker affects the Teamsters membership.
Well, Jimmy, English said that as long as Meany was in, he wasn't talking about autonomy. You talked about autonomy. He said as long as Meany's in there, you're not going back. Now, is he speaking for the union when he says that? I mean,
I don't think that John implied that he was going to try and convince the Teamsters officials, but he was stating his own personal position, and I can understand it.
Jimmy,
He treated John very, very bad in the council meeting, after having all the years of service he had, they tried to discredit him, which they didn't and couldn't.
Trying to continue to pursue that transportation.
Was trying to do anything except endeavor to mislead the public to be able to get past a national right to work law, hoping to destroy organized labor.
Do you think that the Senate committee accomplished that?
I think they accomplished one thing, something they shouldn't be proud of. The fact that they themselves refused to allow the common, everyday, normal courtroom procedure of questions, answers, and cross-examination be put into effect in front of their committee to be able to sift the difference between truth and falsehood.
Do you have any idea
Cross-examination.
Do you have any idea what inspired the investigation?
Yes, I think that many of the senators recognized there was an election this year, and there was going to be one in 60, and they aspired to have publicity free and attempted to monopolize as much of the cameras they could without falling over each other, and try to get as many sensational headlines as they could. And also, I would assume they got paid for the articles they wrote.
Jimmy, what's the basis for your attack on the criticism of the press?
I have many friends, I believe, in the press, working press, not any of the top echelon, but the working press. I have talked to many of them after they wrote stories and before. And I know, without naming names, that many other reporters who read their articles the next morning or the same evening wondered where it came from. So I am thoroughly convinced that as long as the honest reporter who observes, makes notes, cannot write his own article the way he sees fit, then the advertisers of this country will slant the news to suit themselves and primarily for destruction of labor.
Jimmy, how do you think this whole business with the Senate committee and the courts is going to work?
Well, I believe, based upon our attorney's advice to myself, it'll end up in the new convention of the Teamsters, where what I have to not look at today, or look at Jimmy Hoffa or George Meany. And I can't help but say that if we could re-enter the AFL-CIO on a basis of recognizing our autonomy of our international union, that I would have to talk in favor of it.
Regardless of whether Mr. Meany's there or not.
I would have to talk in favor. I don't consider Meany the AFL-CIO. I consider the AFL-CIO the entire executive board and the structure, not just George Meany. He's just incidental to the AFL-CIO.
Would you consider any concessions to the ethical practices committee?
Well, there isn't any need for any concessions because we have agreed that we would comply with the ethical practice committees and have complied with one exception. And it actually is not the ethical practice committee, but something they try to attach to which they backed away. We will not agree to give up a constitutional right, which is the Fifth Amendment, for any member who belongs to our union.
Okay.
Wasn't that interesting?
He knew where all this crap was coming from. He just didn't know why yet.
Right.
But he started to figure all that out a couple years later.
I like his voice too.
I like his voice.
Yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. If anybody cares, we're not gonna do like scheduled ones because we don't work like that, do we, Grandma?
Hey, if you have time and I have time, I'd be glad to come on with you.
We love to learn about this case, and we're both interested in Hoffa.
Yeah.
So, and
even if there's only half a dozen people in here, it's still fun to do and learn.
I think so. What were you talking about when I went to get Nala? I came in, and what did you want to go over? We could do the next time we come live.
I mentioned that I sent a link to you for a video about JFK, and it was interesting.
Oh.
You know, it was really interesting, and I was excited about it, and you're kind of excited about it. And we were talking about maybe having, a live about that and how that could tie into the Hoffa thing because of who was involved.
Yeah. How about I play that clip that you sent me?
Oh, sure, whatever.
Do it right
It was
back.
good. It was a good interview.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it was only about 15 minutes from start to finish. It was worth it, though.
Stupid commercials.
This month marks 60 years since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And over these past 6 decades,
I'll turn it
serious
off.
questions have
Hold on.
persisted about what happened that fateful day in Dallas, fueled by an intermittent drip of new revelations. Well, this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, our News Nation special report, Unsolved, the JFK Assassination, will give you a closer look at firsthand accounts, shedding new light on what eyewitnesses saw and heard that day. News Nation's special correspondent Ross Coulthart will host that special. Here's a preview of his conversation with a former Yale professor who's dedicated his life to uncovering the truth.
For 60 years, Josiah Thompson has investigated that key question: who killed JFK?
It was much easier to simply say Oswald did it, but he couldn't have done it.
Thompson, a former Yale professor, has spent decades digging into the evidence, literally writing the book, casting doubts on the government's official lone gunman theory. Thompson says the evidence he's gathered proves the fatal shot came from the grassy knoll. Before retiring in 2011, Thompson worked as a private investigator for 35 years, including on high-profile criminal cases like the Patty Hearst kidnapping and the Oklahoma City bombing trial. And this Sunday, in our News Nation special report, he reveals whether he believes the government conspired to kill the president.
Well, I'm sure that if the government wanted to reinvestigate the case, they would end up with the scenario that I've ended up with after 60 years of being with this case. That this scenario works.
Also, this Sunday, you'll meet Robert Groden, a photographic technician who took a copy of the Zapruder film while he worked for Life magazine.
I have published the testimony I got from the doctors. I went and I questioned them all myself, over 20 of them. Every single one of them said that the shot came from the front. How did they come to that conclusion? Because the exit wound was in the back of his head.
To this day, he takes his research and theory very literally out in the open. Many weekends, you can find him selling books and videos on the infamous grassy knoll.
Do you believe there was an active collusion by the Warren Commission members to suppress evidence that suggested a second shooter?
Without question.
And News Nation's special correspondent Ross Coulthart joins us now. Hey, Ross, you know, it's incredible that 60 years later, there has still been there's so many people who were there that day who still have questions about what happened.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yes, you're right. And the thing I find most extraordinary about this case, I've always been fascinated with the JFK case from Australia, where I first lived. And the thing that strikes me about it is when you look at the evidence, when you look at the number of witnesses, you know, there were 88 people, possibly as many as 100, who say that they saw smoke or heard shots from the grassy knoll. Most of them weren't interviewed by the Warren Commission. They weren't brought up before the Warren Commission. And there is a lot of evidence that the official government inquiry didn't investigate at the time. And I think a lot of the story that we're telling this Sunday asks that question, why?
Yeah.
Why is it that the American people haven't been told about that other evidence?
Well, let's talk about the new information you have suggesting that the wound on the president's neck was actually an entrance wound, not an exit wound. If true, how does that change everything?
Oh, it's basically what it means. If it was an entrance wound, it means that there was at least one other shooter on the grassy knoll, because that's where it's very likely that shot came from. And I do think, personally, the evidence is compelling. It's quite extraordinary. Witnesses saw puffs of smoke on the day, but I think the thing that really clinched it for me recently was talking to the Secret Service agent, now retired, Paul Landis, who was literally on the limousine running board in the car behind the president. He saw the president's head explode as he was hit by a bullet. And the confronting and shocking thing is that his recollection is that the shot came from the front left, i.e. from the grassy knoll.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your...
Okay. Now answer. What does he
That was
mean?
not the video.
That's the one you sent me.
No, I sent you two then. There's
Okay.
another one. It was an interview.
Hold on.
It's something about what Nixon told me.
All right. I'm looking. Oh, got that one. Okay. I only got one.
You want me to find it?
Yep.
Hang on.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got is one. All right. So, what do you guys think of this? The whole three of you that are watching. Anybody? Anybody? Alma, are you still here? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, shoot. I'm so sick of hold on. Oh, she took off on me. See how she is? See how she is. I'm looking. Because they're supposed to have the whole interview. Let's see. Oh, I will say this. If you guys watch or got Netflix, I just watched an interesting doc series about the doctors that were in the hospital in the room, and they're now finally speaking out, but they were afraid to, and I found that very interesting. Rob Reiner says he solved it. What? Oh boy, everybody's talking about this. Look at this, you guys. Hold on. Everybody's talking about this. Who killed him? An expert. That's interesting. Hey, you're back.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey.
Let me go to the comment thing, the chat thing.
Okay.
And I'll post it in there.
I see everybody's talking about this again. That's interesting.
Who is? On TV, you mean?
On the internet.
On the JFK, because it's 60 years since it happened.
Oh, okay. I see why now.
There's the link.
Paramount Plus did one too. Oh, I got Paramount Plus. Hold on. I'll go there right now. It's just you and me now, Grandma.
What? Oh, it is?
Yeah, it pretty much. Oh, Jesus.
It doesn't show me, so.
Hold on. People do find this interesting. They really do, actually. However, not on YouTube because YouTube likes the drama, but on TikTok, people like it. I got to learn how to go live from TikTok.
This is the one.
Of
Is this
Kennedy
the one?
assassination.
Yes.
Okay.
I've had a lot of different people on, Roger, on this topic. You've written a book on it, a
Who
New
is
York
it?
Times best-selling book, The Man Who Killed Kennedy, The Case Against LBJ. I had a guy on the podcast.
Can it be louder?
Okay, I don't know if I should be playing his video. When I see, yes, when I see how many like subs they got, some of them do not play. They just go, okay, because it gives you a notification if somebody watched your or streamed your video.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even look. Also, I'm not going to say names. I found out someone I know that does true crime. Okay. Another job that she does is she goes around. Okay. Oh, they go around looking for people that are watching other people's content and
Oh,
letting
God.
for real.
Just to strike people?
Not to distract them. They get paid to do it. So okay, let's say I'm watching him, right? And someone that goes around the internet looking to see people that have watched them, right? And then tell them, here's the link to the channel.
Well, they're just dirty rats.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see a lot of other people that do this, but nothing gets done with them. But the smaller channels, even like me, get picked on. Ain't it weird?
Your sound is going really light again. I don't know why.
Okay, if anybody is here in the chat, can you tell me if you hear me fine?
I have my sound cranked again to hear you, and that's what it did before we went live, but not once we went live.
You guys,
Remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody? Nobody?
I
Okay.
think we alone.
That's okay. Hold on, I'll be right back. How's it now? Grandma?
What?
Am I better?
No.
Well, I don't know what the hell to do.
You were better before, though. I mean, up until this point, so that's pretty good.
Why, I wish somebody would let me know if they can hear me.
Well, I have been able to hear you up until now, but I don't think there's anybody in the chat but us.
Yeah, nobody wants to answer, but that's okay. I get it. Should we wrap it up then for now?
If you're tired and stuff, yeah, sure.
I
just wanted you to watch this because it was super exciting.
I bet. And maybe I will contact this person to see if I can.
Well, just watch it after the live stream. Just watch it, though, because it's really good.
And then
really, really good.
And then we can talk about it.
Yes.
How does that sound?
Yes.
I will do that. Let me give him a like real quick.
That sounds so good.
Let me put the link in so people, whoever watches the replay,
yeah,
can go check this out too. So we'll be discussing the JFK too. Did I tell the people that? Grandma?
Well, I think that we did. We tried to, but I don't know when people exited because I can't see that.
Because we're kind of we feel they're what's the word I'm sorry, I can't even think. Hoffa and the Kennedys.
Well, they intersected, and it was interesting that all the powerful groups involved were the same ones that were in the Kennedy situation.
Right.
As the Hoffa. Pretty interesting. There were some powerful people that were at work at that time.
And that's scary. And we talked, the government can be scary.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It is. And the crap they're doing now is
Right.
It's blatant. It's really blatant. Everybody can see what they're doing.
Oh, hush, hush. Are you tired? Are you going to bed?
Oh, I'm not going to bed.
Oh,
You can.
because I know you're an hour ahead of me.
Oh no, I'm not going to bed.
Do you want to watch some more stuff?
I'm sure it's up to you.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm thinking of you. You know, the time frame.
Oh, no worries. I've been up like really late lately. I
Okay.
just can't sleep.
So I did this a while back. Hey, if you find anything you want me to watch, put it in the link and we'll go there, okay? How about that?
Okay.
But here we go. Here's some things I put together a while back that is still on private, and I don't know why.
You want him to be out there?
Yeah, I do. And we will discuss at one time also, Michael. Yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
Yes.
James Hoffa is missing. The family of the former Teamsters Union president and ex-convict reported Hoffa missing early today. His car was found outside a restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan, not far from where the family lives. The police were asked whether they...
That's going to give me a freaking aneurysm.
Okay, it's only this part. Grandma, I forgot to tell you. I had a lady, okay? I'm going to have to go find, I'll screenshot it off my TikTok, that watched the interview I did with Michael, and she says, I believe him, and the reason why I believe him is because we seen them put him in the car. Now, the only problem...
Put who in the car?
Hoffa.
But that just proves that they had him.
Yeah, right, right.
It doesn't prove anything.
See, what don't make sense to me, they would not take him and bury him and unbury him. Come on.
No, that's not what happened. I don't believe that they buried him and unburied him and moved him and all that crap. I don't believe it.
Yeah, that's just too much. They probably put him in a wood chipper.
Well, you know.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Or you know, you just get the right people and they'll do whatever. Chainsaw, whatever it takes.
Ugh. All right, here we go. I'm sorry. I just had to bring that up.
They thought Hoffa had been kidnapped. Their answer was, well, his car was there and he was not.
Mr. Bridges' ties with the leading members of the Communist Party in the world, and the fact that Mr. Goldblatt is identified continuously and repeatedly as an important member of the Communist Party, and he's the Secretary Treasurer of this local with whom you've made this alliance?
I don't know if Harry Bridges is a Democrat or a communist, or whether Goldblatt's a communist, and this is not the issue behind the question of transportation unity. The workers have so elected them under the free democratic rights of American and under the Taft-Hartley law. And they have filed for 10 years, according to Goldblatt's testimony, non-communist affidavits.
All right, would you
If you
allow
think it's wrong, you investigate that.
Would you allow, as a Teamster official, a man who was a communist, who was elected by the membership?
We don't have any communists in
Just
our
answer the
team.
question.
Just a moment, please, that I know of. But if the membership saw fit to elect a man who had been tagged, mind you, as a communist, who disavowed the fact that he was a communist, and no proof was presented under our Constitution of the International Union, we would not be in a position to dislodge him from his elected position. Neither would the courts let us do it. However, the provision you're looking for in our Constitution is very clear. And it talks about the question of communism. I helped write the article, so I know it. You don't need to read it to me.
Right.
And I say to you, though, that I'm talking about tagged individuals, and Bridges and Goldblatt are tagged.
Oh, Mr. Hoffa.
Tagged.
What do you mean? There's no question about Mr. Goldblatt, although there can.
She was just as apt to give you a slap across the mouth if you got out of line as she was to say, go blow your nose.
She held things under control and she brought us up the way she believed was right. And out of all of the problems that we had, I think that when you look back, she kept us on the right road.
Was she the one that suggested that you shouldn't drink and you shouldn't smoke? I mean, is this?
No, never suggested. I just never, I never discussed it. In fact, my mother never drank. Neither one of my sisters nor my brother.
Well, I knew you didn't smoke and you didn't drink, and I just wondered if this was a carryover.
My
back
mother
to
never
those days.
drank nor smoked. My brother smokes but don't drink. And neither of my sisters either smoke nor drink.
Jim, if you don't smoke and you don't drink, and you don't play around at golf, what do you do for entertainment?
Right here, work.
This is entertainment?
7 days a week, I have more fun here working than anybody can have on a golf course or any sport you can name. Every minute here is something new, something keeps you alert, because you're competing with the best brains in the United States.
With this kind of entertainment, how many days a year do you get at home?
I get home now, since I've been into Washington, on average once a month. I try to get home at least one weekend a month.
Jimmy, one reporter who took a very long look at Hoffa suggested that in a choice between power and money, you'd always choose power. Was he right?
Not for myself, I would not. I don't need any additional power than I have. But if it came a question of power as against money, certainly I would select power, because out of having additional power, it gives us the ability to get for our members additional economic gains. Nobody in this country respects what's weak. You believe me. If you see a beggar on a corner with his hat in his hand, nobody respects him. Dress the same man up. Give him an air of dignity, and he can command respect. The same thing applies to this union. If we lived in a basement instead of this magnificent building here, and we were broke and had no money instead of the money we have today, employers would be prone to fight us. But because we are financially solid, because we do have an organization that is equipped to handle any situation that comes in front of us, we're successful in getting from the employers what our members want and need without strikes.
Spied on, wiretapped, and followed by the late Teamster boss Jimmy Hoffa, all the way to Marilyn's bedroom. Hoffa's own lawyer breaks a 30-year silence on the secret bugging of Bobby and Marilyn. That story right after this. That history has recorded more than once. An affair reported to have been monitored by the FBI and Kennedy's archenemy, the late Teamster boss Jimmy Hoffa. Until now, the knowledge of Hoffa's spying on Bobby and Marilyn was sketchy. But tonight, our David Lee Miller talks to Hoffa's own longtime attorney, William Bufalino. Bufalino said he wanted to clear the air, but with details of bedroom tapes, he left it a bit more soiled. Here's David Lee's report.
Marilyn Monroe, a probable suicide, 1962. Robert Kennedy, assassinated, 1968. Jimmy Hoffa, presumed murdered, 1975. Now, more than a quarter of a century since these three lives were first intertwined, this man, Bill Bufalino, Jimmy Hoffa's personal attorney, has broken his silence about the shocking details of how he, at the request of the former Teamster boss, bugged then Attorney General Robert Kennedy at the home of Kennedy's secret lover, film star Marilyn Monroe.
I checked on the entire Kennedy family. I had a complete file, and I had Bobby Kennedy surveilled by wiretaps.
It is a story that has become front-page news and the subject of FBI files. But never before has Jimmy Hoffa's right-hand man disclosed the most intimate details of Hoffa's hatred for Robert Kennedy. Now at age 72, and with his health failing, Detroit-based attorney Bill Bufalino wants to set the record straight and agreed to come clean during an interview recorded last week at his retirement home in Pompano Beach, Florida. What did Jimmy Hoffa think of Bobby Kennedy? What did he tell you about him?
That he was a spoiled brat, that he didn't know what it was to do a day's work in his life, that he was hungry for power.
To this day, Bufalino, or Buff, as Hoffa used to call him, remembers the Senate hearings in the late 1950s investigating the alleged infiltration of organized crime into the Teamsters.
Mr. Senator, I don't intend to be boxed in on a play of words.
The committee's chief counsel was Robert Kennedy, and with the support of committee member Senator John Kennedy, Brother Bobby repeatedly attacked not only Buffalino, but the brash attorney's friend and boss, Jimmy Hoffa.
Did you say that SOB, I'll break his back to anyone? Did you make that statement after these people testified before the committee?
I never talked to either one of them after testifying.
No, I'm not talking about to them. Did you make that statement here in the hearing room after the testimony was finished?
Not concerning them, far as I know of.
Well, who did you make it about?
I don't know. I may have been discussing somebody in a figure of speech.
Well, who did you make the statement? Whose back were you
I
going
don't
to break?
even remember it.
Well, whose back were you going to break, Mr. Hoffa?
Figure of his speech, I don't even know who I was talking about, and I don't know what you're talking about.
It was during these hearings that Jimmy Hoffa and Robert Kennedy became bitter enemies. Their venomous debate and relationship later became the subject of the TV movie, aptly titled Blood Feud.
Well, whose back are you going to break, Mr. Hoffa?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Whose back, Mr. Hoffa?
I don't know. It's a figure of speech. You understand? Figure of speech, figure of speech.
But the hostility between two of the most powerful men in the country went much further than what was portrayed in a TV movie. Once Kennedy was appointed Attorney General, he made Hoffa's conviction his first priority.
Robert Kennedy has been appointed to President Kennedy's staff. Do you expect the Office of Attorney General to be leaning on you?
No comment. I have a case in court.
Hoffa, as head of the country's largest and most powerful union, was accused by Kennedy of allowing the mob to control the Teamsters and its immense multi-million-dollar pension fund. As Attorney General, Kennedy made Hoffa's life a nightmare, repeatedly indicting the union boss. Finally, an angry and frustrated Jimmy Hoffa struck back with the help of his longtime friend and attorney, Bill Buffalino. You were Jimmy Hoffa's right-hand man. Robert Kennedy is making Jimmy Hoffa's life miserable. What does he ask you to do?
Sue the bastard.
And you sued him.
I sued him every time he turned around.
Besides suing Robert Kennedy, what else did you do on Jimmy Hoffa's behalf?
I had him surveilled for at least 2 years.
According to Buffalino, during the surveillance, he and Hoffa learned that Marilyn Monroe, who already had an affair with President John Kennedy, was now intimately involved with his brother Robert. Buffalino says he then contacted this man, a professional wiretapper named Bernie Spindell. Although it was 30 years ago, now, for the first time, Buffalino admits that he, at the request of Jimmy Hoffa, arranged to bug the Attorney General of the United States. To what extent did Bernie Spindell eavesdrop on Marilyn Monroe and Robert Kennedy? What did he do?
He bugged the phone at the junction box. They picked the locks. He and his crew picked the locks to her apartment, and they bugged certain areas, including a nightstand, the bed spring, or under the bed.
Under the bed itself?
Under the bed.
It was a bug?
Yeah.
Under Marilyn Monroe's
transmitter. Bed. And the receivers were outside the building. Outside, probably down where the junction box was. Somewhere. It wasn't there. They were all outside of her apartment. So he didn't have to even remove them.
How much did you pay Bernie Spindell to do this?
$17,000, and once or twice $5,000 each.
So Bernie Spindell is bugging Marilyn Monroe's home, and he is eavesdropping on conversations between Marilyn Monroe and Robert Kennedy. What type of things did he tape? What type of conversations? What was said?
Well, there's one time Bobby Kennedy was complaining about Marilyn Monroe keeping a diary. And he read the diary. And there was something in there concerning what happened between them. And he blew his top. Bobby Kennedy blew his top. He said, what the hell are you words to this effect? What the hell are you keeping this? They serve no worthy purpose. Keep it in your mind. And then he had Bobby Kennedy was the one making the veiled promises that she could find her way to Washington, D.C., either the White House or Washington.
He said this to Marilyn Monroe. While you guys were rolling audio tape.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
What else went on with Marilyn Monroe? Was the relationship just platonic? Were they lovers? What did you learn?
I thought Jack Kennedy decided she was a good act, and we ought to keep it in the family, Bobby. Take a shot at her.
They were lovers.
I guess you'd call them lovers for the time being. You can make any kind of a promise when the act is in progress.
Is there any doubt in your mind that it was really Marilyn Monroe and Robert Kennedy who were recorded on this tape? Like
Absolutely none.
How can you be so sure?
I recognize his voice.
To this day, Bill Buffalino still takes a great deal of pleasure in bashing the Kennedys. But according to investigative writer Dan Moldea, the author of The Hoffa Wars, Buffalino's boast about wiretapping the Attorney General is more than likely all too true.
If there was an attempt to blackmail the White House, Bill Buffalino certainly would have been in a position to have made such an arrangement. He was clearly in a position, he was clearly close enough to Hoffa where he could have done such a thing.
According to Buffalino, wiretapper Spindell never turned the tapes over to Jimmy Hoffa. Buffalino claims Spindell wanted too much money for the secret recordings and says years later, during a police raid of Spindell's home, orchestrated by Robert Kennedy, the tapes were confiscated and later destroyed. If Jimmy Hoffa ever got his hands on these tapes, what was he going to do with them?
He would try to get to Bobby Kennedy to keep him out of jail. He wouldn't want to embarrass him. He wasn't that kind of a man. He wouldn't want to. He just wanted to stay out of prison and do his job.
What do you say to people watching this interview who revere Robert Kennedy and say you did a terrible thing to a great man?
I say to them, I, Bill Buffalino, owe it to you, the general public, to tell it all. I want the truth known, come hell or high water.
Well, that's interesting, David Lee, but why would he wait 30 years if he wanted the public to know? He could have done it right after Hoffa supposedly disappeared in 1975. Why now?
That's very true. Now, for a long time now, Buffalino has wanted to write his memoirs. But at this point in time, he appears to be very ill. And I think he took this as a special opportunity to get a lot of things off his chest. And you better believe, Maury, no matter what you or I may think, he has no regrets.
All right. Thank you very much, David Lee Miller.
This is Hoffa's daughter first interview.
I fixed my sound issue.
Well, of course, we have to hope that you have to have hope to keep you going. As I see it in my mind, if you'd like me to say truly, I don't think that it is a ransom. I think that the worst has happened, because if we're a ransom and the ransom were paid and Dad were returned, the person that got the ransom would know that we would find him and that Dad would never rest. So I'm afraid I fear the worst.
If it turns out, in fact, that your father is no longer alive and that his death was caused by rivalries within the Teamsters Union, what do you think this will mean in the future? Do you think there will be more violence within the Teamsters?
Well, I would say if that sort of a thing could be proven, it would rip the Teamsters Union absolutely apart.
Okay, I forgot I added this part. Listen. As soon as there's sound, that's not my fault.
That he didn't know had tried to put my father in a car, he would have fought it out on the spot, and he would have not been taken alive. He would have fought it out right there by his car. I am confident that whoever abducted him was a person that he knew. And if he knew them, then we know them and we'll find out. Someone knows them and we'll find them.
TV Detroit.
At this late date, after the time that's gone by, I think that it's clear that my father has been assassinated and that we're probably never going to see him again or find the body. And I think all this was part of a calculated plot by whoever did this. It was a highly organized endeavor.
Do you have any suspicions about who was involved in the organization of the endeavor?
Well, I obviously have my suspicions, but I'd rather not say right now, and I'd let the investigation take its course, which it is.
Seems to me it's trying to signify a message that Jimmy Hoffa is right across the street from this location. There's the Renaissance Center.
All right. That'll be for another time. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See how if the government would be honest.
It's not possible.
Look at all the speculation in a hole, all the way around.
We're not wrong, is what I have to say. We're not wrong. They're gonna contest that till the end of time, but
Right.
we're not wrong. You know, they could tie shit up in court for years and years and years, and you know it'll never go anywhere. And the people that were involved will live to be an old age, and then they'll die before they get any justice for the American people. And that's just how it's going to be. They are really good at doing this. They've got a plan. They've got a network, and we don't.
Right. Do you want to watch the new people that are searching for Hoffa's remains? Do you want to watch a video? Hold on.
Well, sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Here we go. Jimmy Hoffa update. Oh, shoot. Here we go. I found it.
Come back.
Jimmy Hoffa disappeared almost a half century ago. Fitting that the Union leader's middle name was Riddle, because no one's been able to solve where he is or how he died. A new theory says he might be buried near American Family Field. Madeline O'Neill.
I'm standing here outside American Family Field where
Really?
investigators say old Milwaukee County Stadium's third base was. They also say the body of Teamsters president Jimmy Hoffa may still be beneath this pavement.
You kept seeing somebody else would come out and say, well, we know where Jimmy Hoffa is.
Each off-base search for Jimmy Hoffa
These are New Jerseys at this garbage dump.
only made Jim Zimmerman more sure of his theories in the right ballpark.
That makes mine even more believable.
Zimmerman works with the Case Breakers, a group of volunteer investigators taking on unsolved crimes.
You always want to solve the unsolvable.
That now includes the 1975 disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa,
It could mean anything, you know what I mean?
a labor union leader who got involved in organized crime.
Everybody had a theory.
Zimmerman says their theory is that Hoffa's body was secretly moved in 1995, buried under the now demolished Milwaukee County Stadium's third base, near present-day Hellfair Field. That idea all started from a playing card in the 90s with the clues written out from an uncle of Zimmerman's girlfriend at the time. who he calls a corrupt cop.
He bragged to some other locals up in Wisconsin about how he was involved with this.
He says his ex-girlfriend kept it under wraps out of fear of the mob until Zimmerman called case breakers in 2020. That year, the team used ground-penetrating radar in the area, getting a hit right where they say third base was.
And that's where there was a disturbance in the soil.
In October 2023, they brought in a cadaver dog team and handler.
We didn't tell her the area where we suspected it to be, and I'll be darned if that dog did not alert in that very area.
The volunteer investigators say they've done about all they can and are now talking with the FBI, hoping to dig up concrete answers.
We want to be able to get closure for the Hoffa family.
Dig up concrete answers.
Is in the hands of the FBI in Milwaukee. Madeline
I didn't catch that. That is funny.
And on that note, the FBI telling Fox 6 tonight they can't comment as this remains an ongoing investigation.
Okay.
Okay.
They did say at one time it's a closed investigation.
It's closed?
Yes, but now they told that news station, I'm going to have to find where they say that, the FBI. But now the FBI is saying it's an open investigation. See?
Until a body is found, yeah. There's no, statute of limitations on murder.
Right.
So it's a cold case, but it's an open case.
I'm going to have
obviously it doesn't get priority over something that's, current, but
well, look at what they've done. They have destroyed
that's something.
Land.
I know, it's crazy. But it would be crazy if Yarborough's story is correct. That would be crazy because I think he's got it so rehearsed down to every word with the same inflections in his voice, and he said it a million times, I'm convinced.
Yeah, he's had a lot of interviews, more than I realized.
Well,
and like I
I
said,
don't know what to think.
If
he was a young man and that happened and he was there and blah blah and he knows something and managed to get, a life lived without being offed by the wrong people, then I'd be surprised at that, first of all, because it wouldn't have been any big deal to have him removed.
well, because like I said to him too when I interviewed him, and if it wasn't Hoffa, it was somebody. You know what I mean?
Right. Otis, what are you? Hang on a second. What are you doing?
Uh-oh.
My dog was chasing something. I don't know. Scared me. Scared Grandma. It's all right. Yeah, I think that, there's a lot of people who have little bits of information that probably ring partially true.
Yeah.
And you start stringing them all together and they kind of make you think, hey, like that stadium, where Yarborough said it was right there.
And he had Detroit, that news station, follow him around.
Well, but that's a different stadium than this article is saying.
Well, yeah, because this is in Wisconsin.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. So when he was abducted, where was he?
He was at that hotel, that restaurant. Here, let me find it for you.
But why would somebody take him from there and drive to Wisconsin to off him?
Right.
Do you know?
There was another one that said California. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's just bullshit.
I know, right?
It just takes all kinds, doesn't it?
It's just crazy.
I know. Why do they do that? What do they get from that? They just gotta have a little attention, or try to make a buck or something. I don't get it. That's not worth.
I know.
It's not worth that bad karma,
And Okay, and if I did see something, if the FBI, I mean, he's went to the FBI, and they threatened him. What did they say he was going to do? A cease and desist him.
Well, that just means they think he's crazy. Stop bothering us is what that means.
Well,
leave us alone.
But you can do that. You can tell the federal government or the federal government can do that to you for real.
Can tell you cease and desist. Oh yeah.
How can they do that? They work for the people, right?
You're so funny. Aren't you cute? No. Yeah, you're cute because you think that. You're cute that you think that. No,
Yeah.
we pay them and they work for themselves and they are like they're like bad cops, you know?
Yeah.
They're ego and they do what they want and they make the rules. They're the authority. And like, what are you going to do about it? They're bullies.
True.
They're bullies. And they don't have to bend to us. We have to bow to them.
Right. Do you know any other people that said that they got information? Interviewed anywhere?
Do I know of anyone else who has talked about having information on Hoffa?
Yeah.
I haven't. I could research it for you.
I mean, just like anybody like us, you know what I mean? Just regular
Oh
people.
no, I don't think anybody else is doing anything about Hoffa.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a cold case. Really, really cold case.
No, I'm just
But
wondering.
it's so interesting though, because there's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of power and money involved, which I think is the intriguing part of it.
I think it has something to do with Bobby. I've been telling you this. Bobby.
Well, they weren't clean cut, Irish American boys like everybody thought. It's nice little Catholic boys. They were not that.
No.
Look at their dad.
Right.
He was not a good person.
And there's been a lot of deaths in that family.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And even, relatives of the Kennedys, like the little nephew murdered that girl when she was like 14 or something.
What's her name? Mallory? Something Mallory?
I don't know. His is like Willie, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Is he Willie Kennedy?
I'm not sure. I think her name is Mallory something.
It's like that. But
Yeah.
I don't think it was exactly that, but it was like that, yes.
Well, look at JFK's son. He was.
No, it wasn't. It was Martha.
Martha.
Okay. It was Martha, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm saying Mallory.
No, I think it's Martha. I truly do.
I think you're right.
I think I'm right too. It's like right there in my head. I can see it. Her name, the word is in my head.
I hate that. Don't you hate that? Kennedy killed.
Yeah, he was William Kennedy, and he was a nephew.
Martha Moxley.
Thank you.
Jesus.
I told you it was Martha. I got it.
The,
See, I saved that brain cell too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cousin, Michael Skakel?
Skakel.
There you go. Yeah, he destroyed her body. Unbelievable.
He killed her with a golf club, didn't he?
Yes.
Oh, God, that was brutal. That's just fucking brutal. Oh. God.
And then JFK's son crashed.
Yeah, that was no accident either.
Oh, hell no.
That was not an accident either. They took them out.
And what did they call it? The Kennedy curse.
Yeah. Good old mainstream media spinning its web.
Oh, yeah.
Another blow to, what did they always call the Kennedy dynasty, or what did they call that? Camelot.
Oh, is that what they called it? I don't know.
They always called it, yeah, Camelot. Another blow to Camelot.
I wonder what Jackie took to her grave.
A lot.
Who?
Jackie.
Oh.
Yeah, I bet she took a lot to her grave.
Because she still got a kid alive, right? What's her name? Catherine? No.
Caroline.
Caroline. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I'm
Yeah.
going to wrap this up here.
All right.
Okay. And the
You
next
know-
time, I'm going to watch that 20-minute clip about JFK.
Yes, and then text me and tell me what you think of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then, so it'd be great if anybody wants to join us when we do this again. We're not going to set a certain time just because lately it hasn't been working out for me. Listen to me, it hasn't been working out.
Everything's going okay. Don't worry, it'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be okay.
We'll pull each other through this crap.
Yeah, we're going to.
I know. We will.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being my co-host.
Thank you for the invite.
It made it so much easier for me because, like, when I'm looking for stuff, you know what I mean? So there's not just silence.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, your subs will have to tell you what they think, whether they liked or didn't, or what they did or didn't like.
Well, I won't let anybody disrespect you. You know that.
Well, it's not that. It's whether they like that on your platform, on your channel.
People like you. Do you know I've gotten messages that people like you, or that's where Grandma is?
Really?
From 4 people. I'm not shitting you.
Really?
Yep. There was, Dan came into my chat the other day, a day or 2 ago. Where's Grandma at? You know that troll Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. He was asking where you were. So that's
Oh,
fun.
that's funny.
Ain't that
That's
fun?
funny.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I'm going to end it for now.